Official clock, it is 8 o'clock. I'm going to ask if we stand for invocation and pledge of allegiance. We bow in attitude of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we say thank you for the opportunity to be present this morning. Lord, lead, guide, and direct us. May we honor and serve others to serve you. Lord, direct us and guide us. Watch over us and protect us, I pray. We thank you for the rain showers the last several days. It's something that we've prayed for weekly. Lord, thank you so much for the opportunity to serve. Direct us and guide us, we pray in thy name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This morning, we do have some new rules of decorum. I'd like to read through a list here of agenda items and things that we are asking for all those that participate in citizens' participation to follow very closely. I want to address the new rules. We have received constructive comments from several community members who value the First Amendment as we do and want to make sure that our rules do not abridge anyone's rights. First, our rules are not meant to restrict viewpoints. All you have to do is watch the past few months' meetings to see that we are extremely tolerant of critical comments and allow them to be expressed. At the same time, preservation of order at public meetings to ensure that the meetings can be efficiently conducted is a legitimate government interest. The Constitution allows for the county to establish reasonable rules to that end. Our new rules are reasonable and viewpoint neutral because all of them have the single objective of preventing actual disturbances at the meetings. All viewpoints are welcome. All we ask that speakers maintain a conduct, volume, and tone that does not disrupt the meeting. I'm quoting here from federal courts that have addressed this issue. It is well established that a citizen addressing a city government body in a limited public forum may be stopped from speaking if the speaker is irrelevant or repetitious, or disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the council meeting. So long as the speaker is not stopped from speaking because the moderator disagrees with the viewpoint he or she is expressing, we will conduct ourselves accordingly. Regarding profanity, it is settled law that reasonable restrictions on profanity that disrupts the meeting are constitutionally valid restrictions. The question is when such language becomes disruptive. It is my job, and I'm going to say that again, it is my job to make that distinction. We occasionally have children who come to these meetings. In that case, excessive repetitive profanity that serves no purpose other than shock value will be disruptive to the meeting, as it will require parents to leave the room and impede the children's and their parents' ability to access the meeting. We also have people who watch at home. These people have every right to access these meetings. But if a speaker uses extreme, excessive, and repetitive profanity such that cable television and social media restricts access to our videos, in my opinion, that is disruptive because it impedes the access of those at home. I am going to ask all speakers, regardless of viewpoint, to be sensitive to the rights of others when speaking. If profanity gets out of hand in a way that is excessive and repetitive and disruptive, I will ask you to stop, regardless of the viewpoint being expressed. Finally, I ask that speakers be mindful to others. If a speaker's conduct, volume, or tone is such that a reasonable person will view it as threatening or aggressive, such that they reasonably fear danger of bodily harm and for that reason want to leave the meeting, I will ask the speaker to cease the conduct, lower the volume, or change the tone of their remarks, regardless of viewpoint, so that they can make their viewpoint known without disrupting or impeding the meeting. The rules are a work in progress, and we are grateful to the community members who have provided their input. Our hope that as speakers will feel comfortable to express their viewpoints while being sensitive to others, that all viewpoints can be heard. And with that, this morning I'm going to call first on Amy Simmons, Keedysville, Maryland.
It's Amy. Oh, I didn't recognize Amy. Okay.
Good morning.
Morning. I'm here today with my husband and my son. My name is Amy Simmons, and I'm a lifelong resident of Main Street in Keedysville. My husband and I have lived there for 30 years, and together we raised 4 wonderful children. In September, our son Riley and his wife purchased a beautiful piece of property, just under 2 acres, on Mount Hebron Road in Keedysville. They began planning their dream home, submitted their permits, and worked with Washington County on their plans. However, their dreams were abruptly interrupted, despite their property having 300 feet of road frontage along Mount Hebron Road and the approval of all required plans through the county permit office. Their building permit is currently pending approval solely due to a claim of no public access to their property. They were told they would need to seek a right-of-way from a neighboring property owner. Following this direction, they contacted the neighboring property owner, but the situation quickly escalated into an unproductive and unreasonable correspondence. I respectfully asked that each of you look into this issue. I fail to understand why a lot located on a public county road is deemed inaccessible. Mount Hebron is a public road. It consists of a 30-foot public right-of-way accessible from both Main Street and Dog Street Road. At some point in time, Mount Hebron became impassable and was partially restored through a narrow section of privately owned land, effectively creating several landlocked properties. I am formally requesting an immediate survey of Mount Hebron Road and a concerted effort to restore the original road along the deeded easement that currently exists and is recorded in the Lands of Record of Washington County, Maryland, in Roads and Land Records, Liber OHW1, folio 667. This would assist the 6 property owners affected by this unfortunate situation. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Next is Stephanie Phillips.
Stephanie Phillips, City of Hagerstown. Thank you for your service to the community. I'm getting ready to take a trip to handle some familiar responsibility. I notified 3 law enforcement agencies that I am going to be doing that, and I expect to find my room in the same condition that I leave it in, which is good when I return. As far as you working together with Berkeley County for national security purposes, I mentioned this morning, it'd be a good idea for you all to have buses going back and forth between the 2. They have the PTA, you have the county commuter, starting early in the morning and running as late as your other latest bus, back and forth all day long. You have shown, especially through your sheriff's department, that you can work together when it is mutually beneficial. Let me see, is there anything else? You know, I have made some public comment on the incident in front of the library on January 10th, 2024. It'd be so much easier to discuss what went right with that entire situation, and that was the 3 people from the trauma team that didn't even bill me, resetting my foot into the upright position so that it did not end up healing at a 90-degree angle, leaving me maimed for life. That is the one thing that I can say went really, really well. I'm sure bleeding internally. My blood pressure was extraordinarily low. I was discharged after dark without crutches, without anyone seeing me ambulatory, standing up, or if I could even walk. A man rolled up, said I was being discharged, and asked if I wanted to ride in the wheelchair or walk out. I said, what do you suggest? He said, ride in the wheelchair. I'm like, I concur. The next day, I went back to urgent care, and they did issue me a pair of crutches, and I didn't have the physical strength to try to figure out how to resupply my first aid kit, which, you know, was really quite extraordinary before it had to be thrown out at my last residence. And I had to ask my daughter to bring me bandages. She did, and while we were standing out front, a woman that looked almost identical to her when she was in college, amputated at the thigh level, went by on a pair of crutches. I mean, she would have had to have been in a Mission Impossible look-alike mask. I did not say a word. She didn't say a word until last Christmas. I said, did you happen to notice that woman that hobbled by the night you brought me the bandages? She said, yes. I said, that was not a coincidence. She said, and I quote one word, interesting.
Thank you, Mrs. Phillips.
Intimidation. This is not about civil, this is about criminal. There was a lot more going on here,
Thank you, Mrs. Phillips.
and somebody needs to do something about it. I asked for help from the state of Maryland. They will be helping.
John.
Next up is Dave Williams. Morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations on the new meeting conduct and sequence policy. Hopefully you've done your legal homework, and it looks like you have. I want you to know that if you need to defend the new policy against any legal challenge, I have no problem with county tax dollars supporting that. I'm glad to see that citizen participation will once again be live streamed. I'm also glad to see the new policy states that the 30 minutes set aside for comment may be extended at the discretion of the presiding officer. Since you have a 30-minute recess built into your schedule, if you still have citizens that want to speak after the original 30 minutes, whether they've signed up or not, I hope the practice of the presiding officer is that he will extend the time for comment. Even with the new policy, you still have a few things to do to not make it seem like you're hiding citizen participation. First, the meeting schedule posted on the county website needs to be corrected. It lists the meeting start time as 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. Second, when you reconvene this meeting after the recess, repeating the invocation, pledge of allegiance, and call to order gives the impression to those tuning in late that the meeting is starting at 9 o'clock, when actually it started an hour earlier. At no other time have I seen you reconvene after a recess when you're at the same location and go through the motions of starting the meeting over again. If you think you need to have another invocation, pledge of allegiance, and call to order, and need to pretend that the meeting is starting at 9 o'clock, at least announce that you're reconvening after the 8 o'clock citizen participation portion of your agenda. As someone who's spoken here respectfully many times, I understand the need to reclaim civility, even though I've disagreed with the appropriateness of many of your attempts. Thank you.
Next up is Sean Porter.
Fuck the draft is my favorite phrase because it's from the 1971 seminal case law on First Amendment protections for freedom of speech. A man by the name of Cohen was arrested in '69 for wearing "fuck the draft" on the back of his jacket. He went into a courthouse and was arrested for disorderly conduct simply for displaying what some people would consider an expletive. The Supreme Court held that one man's vulgarity is another man's lyric. That is a famous quote from Justice Harlan. So long story short, you guys said that Antietam Cable cut your feed. When I called them in October, they said that there was no such thing. They didn't cut your feed because of the word fuck or any other word. And then Julie Green at the Herald Mail quoted them saying exactly the same thing a week ago, that there was more interesting stuff to cover, such as the Grass Grow show or watching Paint Dry channel. So they were covering that more interesting subject matter than these meetings, because these meetings are like getting a root canal. So I'm just a little confused as why you keep telling people that, and then Antietam contradicts your statements that they in no way, shape, or form cut you guys for curse words. It was because y'all are boring. No one wants to watch Mount Rushmore speak, and that's basically what a Board of County Commissioners meeting is like. I don't really have much to say other than the Washington County Republican Club held its presidential race, and a guy named Matt came in first with a margin of votes about 7-1 to the guy who came in number 2, Washington County Board of County Commissioners, Commissioner Derek Harvey, number 2, by a margin of 7-1, beaten by some guy named Matt. Anyhow, that's about all I have. I have 75 seconds left. I am now going to express to you how unhappy I am at the way that I have been treated for my free speech, the fact that you use taxpayer dollars to try to get fictitious fraudulent peace orders, and then you paid 2 county attorneys to represent citizens that claimed they were in their private capacity, though they were on the clock for the county, worked for the county, were county employees, and all the peace orders were originally filled out in the name of the county. So I'm not very happy with the way that you spent my tax dollars, guys, on attorneys to try to sue citizens because you disagree with their free speech. So at this point in time, anyone that doesn't want to see me moon Mount Rushmore here and give my expressive, artistic, First Amendment protected freedom of expression about how I think of these guys, you can leave or close your eyes for 5 seconds, because that's about all they're going to get.
Mr. Porter, your time is up. Mr. Porter, you're disrupting this meeting, and I ask you to please leave.
I still have my time. I still have 18 seconds left.
You have disrupted this meeting. I'm going to ask you to leave, or I'm going to call a recess, and everyone in this room will have to vacate.
You're trying to create your own grounds for disrupting a public meeting. That would be you disrupting the public meeting, John, not me.
No, you have disrupted this meeting.
How did I disrupt the meeting?
Recess. We'll reconvene in citizens' participation timeframe, and next up is Curtis Ray.
Hello, my name is Curtis Ray, and I can finally say legally that I am running for County Commissioner. It's great to be back on the airwaves, and it's truly sad to see the state that the county is in to require a constitutional lawyer to advise them that taking away public comment was against the First Amendment. Heck, I would have told you all that for free, saved the county some more money from our reckless spending. However, on to another note. I believe we need to start addressing major issues in this county. One, being the Hagerstown greeters, which is the homeless population. It is getting way out of hand. People are constantly complaining about it. We need to attempt to try and find solutions to this problem. And we can easily find solutions to these problems by working with the municipalities. And Hagerstown has brought up numerous solutions to this problem, and it has been the county that has circumnavigated and undermined Hagerstown's authority and their potential ability to handle these problems. And we should probably start trying to work with our highest tax-based municipality, which is Hagerstown. I don't know why we don't. Two, we need to address our alarming debt that is increasing at such a rate that is unsustainable for the future of our county. We are currently $190 million in bond debt, and at our current rate of an excess of $1.1 million of revenue a year, it'd take almost 172 years to pay back our debt. That's if we decide to not take out any more bonds and only use the $1.1 million of revenue that we've had. Three, we need to prepare to cut jobs at the government, because I believe we should refuse to raise people's taxes because of our poor financial management. We should exhaust every single avenue before we attempt to raise the people's taxes. I mean, exhaust every single avenue. Four, we do not need a golf course, which has been deficiting for the past 10 years. I am very upset that we as a county own a golf course. Most people don't even know we own the golf course, and I keep trying to bring it to people's attention that we should not own a golf course that allows our dignitaries to golf for free. It's absurd. Five, we should increase the capabilities of the Morgansville Airport and probably transform it into a cargo hub to allow more freight to be shipped in and create a larger commercial tax base from our airport. This would allow us to lower people's taxes by subsidizing the already low tax base that we currently have and switch to more of a commercial sector. Six, I believe we should invest in a vocational school that allows kids to attend from 9th to 12th grade just like Tech High. But this should be for kids with bad grades and kids that are having trouble in the standard academia world. It'll allow them to have a future and come out as journeymen.
Thank you,
With that, I
Mr. Ray.
see the rest of it.
In light of the recess here this morning, that was the list, the sign-up list. Is there anyone else that would like to present here this morning? Hearing none, citizen participation is over for today, and we'll take another recess until 9 o'clock.
The